Hi everyone, welcome here. My name is Merel and today I will take you with me through the wonderful world of Miya Himi gouache. I will unbox the palette, make swatches, and after that I will also create 2 paintings in my sketchbook to experiment with the paint. I already own the mint green palette with 18 colors and I enjoyed working with the paint, so I decided to invest and buy the palette with 56 colors. 56 colors is just insane, but I saw this palette before in YouTube videos or on Instagram accounts of other artists and I loved how the palette and the colors in general looked. I knew that I wanted to try it, but I just couldn't get my hands on it. At first the supply in the Netherlands was not so great, but luckily that has changed now. I got mine at this Dutch website. I also have a discount code for you if you would like to buy this palette as well. With the code MERELJournals you will get 10% discount and the webshop ships to Belgium, Germany and other cities in Europe as well besides the Netherlands. So check that out if you want to. And let's continue with the video. As you could see, I removed the lid of each paint cup and now I'm just placing the cups in the right order in the palette box. Although this took me quite some time, since removing the paint lid looks way easier here than it actually was in real life. I think this looks so satisfying. I posted some videos on Instagram as well, and some people replied that these paint cups actually look like forbidden sauces that you can get at McDonald's, or just nacho cheese sauce in different colors. And I agree, they look like you could potentially eat them, and although I'm sure they do not taste as delicious as they look, you would kind of wish that this was edible. Since we unboxed the palette, I think it's time to create swatches. Sometimes colors can definitely look different on paper and it's nice to see where we will be working with. What I should mention before showing you the result is that I think that some swatches look more transparent than the actual paint is in real life. I forgot to stir the paint a little bit before swatching it. That is the reason why. What is different about the Miya Himi gouache compared to regular gouache is that this one has a yellow texture. If you are not familiar with gouache yet, it's a paint that can both be opaque as transparent. It depends on how much water you use. It's usually a bit more expensive than acrylic paint. What I like a lot about it is that you can easily reactivate gouache paint with water after the paint has dried. That's one of the main reasons why I enjoy working with gouache so much. It makes it easier to blend and you are also able to build different layers on top of each other while painting. It's easier to remove mistakes as well. And I love how, even though this particular gouache set is known to be a great set for beginners, I have all the colors prepared and ready to use. As you can see, I started my first painting with my new set. I think this gives you a great idea how I like to work with gouache, and you will see as well how you can easily build up layers. I usually start working from the top to the end, and for gouache, it is known that it works best if you start with the darker colors first, and after that, you can build it up with lighter accents and details. By the way, the reference for these paintings are some stills from a Ghibli movie. Some people ask me as well how this paint works in general and how you can prevent it from drying out. Now there are a couple of YouTube videos about that in which artists show how they clean their palettes and reactivate the paint after a couple of months or even years of using it, but I will explain it briefly as well. A minute ago, I told you how this gouache paint can be reactivated with water. That's actually exactly how it works. At some point, the paint will start to dry out in the cups and perhaps you might notice some cracks in the paint. At that point, you can add water and let it sit for a couple of minutes. To reactivate the paint, you can simply stir it for a couple of minutes. I usually use a palette knife, but you could also use a toothpick or something similar that does not break easily. You could also buy a paint mixer. And each time before I use the paint, I also spray it with some water to make the painting process easier. I currently use 3 brushes, one that is bigger and 2 smaller brushes. For the first layer of paint, you should not worry too much about details. Just focus on the shapes. Just carefully build up the painting. Speaking from my experience, there's always going to be this ugly stage where you feel like any effort that goes into your painting is probably wasted because it doesn't end up looking at all like how you had the painting in mind in the first place. But just focus on the process and the joy you have while creating it, and most of the time you will actually feel proud of yourself for continuing with the work. You usually surprise yourself at the end, so keep on doing the work and experiment with it. I am sure you will succeed. I am adding some last details before I am finished with painting in my sketchbook. Since I was already familiar with the Miya Himi gouache, I did not experience a lot of surprises, but I admire the stunning colors and I cannot wait to see what I will create with this palette. I think this is a great set for all kind of painters. It especially works great if you are a beginner and ready to explore gouache paint. I would recommend to perhaps start with a smaller set to see if you actually like the product, and perhaps afterwards it's time to move on to a bigger set. If you would like to check out the set yourself, I will add the link of the webshop where I bought the paint in the description of this video, and you are also able to use my discount code to get 10% discount. If you have any questions about gouache, I will try to answer them in the comments, and I hope to see you soon in the next video. Bye!